Hello, my name is Jeff Colton, and this is presentation one of in Accounting 6650. This is for Giving Voice to Values case 2-5, Gateway Hospital. And just to give a little bit of a summary, this is about Troy and Kristen, who work for Gateway Hospital, and both are attending an industry conference in Orlando, Florida. The conference happens to coincide with Troy's kids' spring break, so he's taking his kids and family with him to, also attend Disney World and SeaWorld and do some of that stuff along with the conference that they're going to. Kristen works underneath Troy, and anyway, Troy, when he gets back, realizes the trip was a little bit more expensive than he had anticipated, and so decides, at the suggestion of his wife, to add in another night and a few more meals to the expense report, even though they weren't qualifying business expenses. So he submits that expense report, and then Joyce, who is the head of the accounting department, approaches Kristen and asks her about his expense report because Kristen was on the same trip and didn't submit as many nights as Troy did. And so, Kristen is faced with the dilemma of what to tell Joyce and decides that she should probably speak to Troy before she, says anything to Joyce. Um, so the first question is, what are the main arguments Troy will make, and what reasons and rationalizations will need to be addressed? First of all, Troy may feel that the company owes this to him. He's certainly missed a lot of time on trips, a lot of time with his family, on trips that he's already done, and so that could be, one of the rationalizations he'll use. Another category of some other categories of rationalization that Troy may use would be the expected or standard practice. It says in the case that a lot of people inflate, expense reports, kind of a normal thing that they do. So he may say, justify it with that reason. The materiality rationalization could be one. He may say that it's just a couple $100 for a company that probably makes millions a year. It's not a big deal. Or the isolated incident rationalization, saying that it's just a one-time thing, it won't happen again, it was just for this, one trip. The next question is, what is at stake for the key parties in this situation? Troy's job, or at the very least his reputation if the fraud is discovered. Kristen's job could also be at stake if it's found out that she lied on his behalf about the propriety of the submitted expenses, and then Kristen's relationship with Troy could also be affected. If she lies for him, or then maybe it'll be boosted, I guess. But also, if she tells the truth, then it could be it could affect their relationship negatively, and it also could affect her reputation at the company, because it kind of mentions that it's has a culture of not rocking the boat, as they say. The employer is also affected because they're cheated out of money. Again, whether it's just a couple $100, it's still money that they shouldn't have to pay. The next question is, what levers can be used to influence Troy's reaction in this matter? Kristen could explain to Troy that her reputation is at stake as well. So, maybe even if he's someone who doesn't care about his own reputation, he might care about someone else's, and so that could help. Kristen's higher loyalty is to the hospital, not to Troy, so that could be something she could explain to him and might help. She also may need to tell someone higher up if he does not admit to the fraud, and that may be something that would get him to come clean if she kind of threatens him with that possibility. What is the most powerful and persuasive response to Troy's reasons and rationalizations is the next question. You could emphasize to Troy that it's the right thing to do, appeal to his moral integrity, assuming he has some. Help him to see the potential negative consequences of his decision, help him realize that obviously he could go without a job, and the reason behind this whole thing was the financial reason. He'd want to get a couple $100 extra, and if he's without a job, he's definitely in a lot worse shape than being out a couple $100. And then remind him that it's just easier to come clean by yourself than to be discovered later. The last question is, to whom should the argument be made, when, and in what context? I definitely think it would be best to discuss this with Troy first and kind of behind closed doors, so that he feels like he could be, honest and talk to Kristen about it, and they can have an open discussion, because if it was kind of forced out in public, it might not go so well. If he doesn't cooperate, then the next step would be to go to his direct supervisor. If he or she is not, really doesn't care or thinks it's unimportant, then maybe Kristen would just have to tell the truth to Joyce, and Joyce can handle it from there, and the ramifications can be what may. So I definitely think it's something that Kristen should tell the truth about, but she should give the chance to Troy to do it first. So